Please enjoy this message from David Arquette sent in by the fabulous Carrie Tenney.
Hey Ryan, how are you? Thanks for doing the Scream podcast.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
You are listening to Scream with Ryan C. Showers, the podcast for Scream fans just like you. Join Ryan every week as he takes a deep dive into the horror film series that defined the 90s and redefined the genre. Scream with Ryan C. Showers is your source for scene and quote analysis, character dissections, and the latest news about upcoming installments of the Scary Movie franchise.
I hear you like horror movies, Curly, but do you like them as much as him?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. In the lead up to Scream 7, I couldn't be more grateful for everybody out there who listens to the show, who supports my podcast here, listening every episode, or on social media on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. If you would like to become a member of the podcast, come to the group Zooms, be on the show on a one-on-one or small group setting, consider joining the Patreon with Scream with Ryan C. Showers. In addition to the benefits of coming on the podcast, you can also join our social media groups, in particular on Instagram. That's the main hub of the podcast. I also do a monthly audio commentary of a Scream movie or a Scream-related film. From now through April, we are going to be having a new Scream movie audio commentary. So if you would like to hear my thoughts in an audio commentary form in the style of Wes Craven, Marion Maddalena, et al. Of the original trilogy, please consider subscribing and supporting the show. Thank you to every single person out there who subscribes on Patreon. Specifically, I need to thank my Daddy Ghost Faces and Stab investors over at Patreon. Starting out strong, we have Carrie Tenney, our Mama Ghostface, Corey Wilson, Brett Janovich, and Andrew Dominguez. And then we have Kevin Abner, Ali, Roy Garza, Josh Carr, Mark Rim, PWO5, Gustavo Mora, Mark Vieira, Scream Queens Podcast, both Josh and Justine, Joey Nabarini, aka The Vault, Christian Ranke, Stevie Shears, The Horror Project Podcast, David D., Jess Mariano, Sam Levy, Tamika Jones, Ryan Not Diane Young, and Josh Calamari. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. So if you didn't hear on Friday's episode, we are going to be doing a new schedule for the podcast. So basically, new episodes of Scream with Ryan C. Showers are going to premiere on Sunday and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., as opposed to Tuesday and Friday mornings that we've done up through this point. I know that the month of January has been kind of crazy and chaotic with episodes flying at you 3 times a week on any given day, but I think I'm going to settle into this new schedule of Sunday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. So hello, welcome. This is kind of a different episode than I've done. We've never done anything like this before. Occasionally, we've played a game. We've played group games. We've done some things that are kind of like off the beaten path where it's kind of like spur of the moment. Like we don't really know what's going on. It's not scripted. However, nothing like this. So if you would have told me that Ryan C. Showers would be doing a live draft on his podcast when I started this, I would say, what's a draft? So no, but as you may know from social media and just from discussions on the podcast before, my friends Josh and TJ, who are the straight bros of Ryan C. Showers, and just for perspective's sake, I don't want new listeners of the podcast to be like, why is he using that term? I mean, I'm sure there are many heterosexuals listening to this podcast right now, and thank you for listening. I appreciate your support, but I can't even say that with a straight face. I'm being cheeky, but but in my Patreon historically, like whenever it first started out, and I don't know if it may be still now, but there is just a huge amount of gay men and women in the podcast, in the Patreon and in the club. And so, it's just Josh and TJ, whenever they would talk and they would say something heterosexual, it's just like, ooh, I'm not used to this because this is so not the beaten path of the conversations I'm used to having in the podcast world. So that's how they got designated this term. So no offense intended. It's it's all in good fun. So the three of us last year, they made me do a box office draft with them for the year of 2025. And we did like what I think was called a snake draft, where like we took turns like picking which movies we wanted to be on our team, and whoever's team made the most money at the end of the year won. So we did the draft last year over texting. Like one morning we just kind of we were all in the group message and we were just texting, and we went through the draft and we made our picks and whatever. So we had a very cunty, fabulous Slay Queen result because I won the draft, which is just wonderful. And I was really happy to win. I kind of knew I was going to win. I made very strategic selections last year. The biggest problem I had last year was Megan 2.0. I chose that because the first movie did so well, and I thought, ooh, this will give me an extra bump in the summer. And she flopped on me. So that's the one gripe I have about the first box office draft. But I was really happy with my picks, and I beat Josh and TJ. And as my friend Monica Geller would say, you're on my team, and my team always wins. It may not be the case this time, but I've already won, so it doesn't matter. It's been there, done that. I was the first winner, so sucks to suck, Josh and TJ. So when it came time to do the second annual Scream with Ryan C. Showers box office draft, it was decided that we weren't going to do texting, that we were going to just hang out on Zoom and do a call and just verbally, do it together. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. I was Gail Weathers, sometimes like you'll have a conversation with me as a Patreon or a friend, and we'll be talking about Scream, and then I'm like, ooh, I could turn this into an episode. So I had a Gail Weathers moment. Do you know what that could do for my book sales? And I said, hey, can I record this? And it kind of morphed into this big thing that we are going to have it as a big part of an episode. So we recorded our draft. Tony Squares, who has a Survivor YouTube show, he used to be a box office bud, and they were on the show last year. He is the moderator, auctioneer, however you want to define it, but he is the host. So you're going to hear that in the first segment here of the podcast. We did what was called an auction draft for this, where you'll see what it is, but it's much different than a snake draft. It's much more complicated, but it incorporated an element of suspense into it. So even though I knew the results, as I was listening back this morning, I was like, ooh, this is exciting. I feel like I'm in a Wes Craven Scream 2 suspense set piece. So I hope you enjoy the listen. We do talk about Scream a little bit. Once you get through the first portion, which is the box office draft recording, you're going to hear me and my friend Sam Levy. We do this fun episode talking about Buffy, but through the lens of Taylor Swift. I know it's the most ridiculous thing. And Ryan, this is a Scream podcast. Like, what are you doing? But I don't care. So we match up each of the seasons of Buffy with a Taylor Swift album. It's really, really fun. So check that out. We do similar things with Scream all the time. But before we get to either of those, this is a Scream podcast, and I do want to take the opportunity to talk about box office Scream 7. So recently in the month of January, we got these predictions from different accounts about the Scream 7 box office. And so for instance, BoxOfficePro, which, they do this for all kinds of movies, they released tracking information. And like this tracking information, it shifts and the wind blows and it's just completely different. So Megan 2.0 was, I think, projected at this point to have a huge opening, and then it dwindled to nothing. So, and the long range domestic opening weekend that BoxOfficePro has predicted for Scream 7, it was released, but I have some thoughts on it. And this was floating around social media, so I thought, why not talk about it? In addition, there was another box office projection from, I think it's Box Office Theory. Okay, whatever, about Scream 7. So let's talk about them. Okay. And they're not what I would have thought. I think that they're kind of, I don't know. So we'll see. And there's I don't know, Scream 7 could be so weird. It could easily be the biggest of the franchise, but it could also be seen as underwhelming after Scream 6. It could do worse than Scream 6. And here's the thing, like, I really, really don't want it to do worse than Scream 6. It would really hurt my heart, if it does worse than Scream 6. And I know that sounds silly because it shouldn't be a competition between movies, but because like Scream 6 is kind of the core 4 movie in some respects, and Scream 7 is the Nev and Kevin legacy movie, because Melissa Barrera got taken away from Scream 7, her fans and this political movement behind her have kind of turned it into this battle of like, the newer fans versus the older fans. I mean, like these people, I don't fuck around with like boycott Twitter anymore. I don't want to see these posts. Like, it is like an alternate reality. But these people are some of the most spiteful human beings I've ever seen in my life. And if it does turn out to be the case that Scream 6 makes more than Scream 7, they're going to be so cruel to everybody involved, especially Neve Campbell. And it's unfair, but it is what it is. Whatever. So, okay. So, Box Office Theory was the first one to come out, and they said that the range for the first 3 days, the opening weekend, could be anywhere from 28 million to 36 million. And then the Box Office Pro has the range from 20 million to 40 million. Okay, let's talk. This is ridiculous. So, for perspective's sake, let's take a look at what the opening weekends were for the first 6 movies. So back in 1996, Scream 1 made 6.3 million its opening weekend. See, that is probably what the boycott people think Scream 7 is going to make, like with all of their online noise. It's like, girl, get a life. So Scream 2 had 32.9 million in its opening weekend. Scream 3 had 34.7 million its opening weekend. Scream 4, 18.6 million. And then Scream 5, 30 million, and then Scream 6, 44.4 million. Like, whew, wow. I hate to say it, but when you look at that result, going from 30 million with Scream 5, which is a great outcome for a franchise that had been dormant for 10 years. Like, that is insane. 30 million, like, that's great. But going from 30 million to 44.4 million is kind of insane. So from a business perspective, Spyglass wanted to make money, and they did with Scream 6 by releasing it, by getting it out so fast. I mean, the film suffered, immensely for it, but they made millions and millions of dollars more because they rushed it instead of allowing some time to breathe, writing a good script, editing well, making sure that they were making a great movie as opposed to just rushing out a product. I mean, the results speak for themselves. So, and you have to also remember, like, Spyglass and Paramount put so much effort into reviving Scream, making people aware of Scream again, introducing the legacy characters, the new characters. There was a huge marketing effort for both Scream 5 and Scream 6, both for different reasons. Like, Scream 5 was, bringing it back from the dead, and then Scream 6 was just shoving it in your face. So it'll be interesting to see how Scream 7 does unfold over the next couple of weeks here. But I think that, like, if I had to just take a guess what the Scream 6 result was, if you ask, like, Gen Z, they would say, oh my God, it's Jenna Ortega. I do not think that Jenna Ortega acquired a 44.4 million opening on her own. Not when Death of a Unicorn, her other starring project, flopped recently after. So I think this was more about the IP. I think that maybe she helped. Maybe she, brought in a little bit. She's part of the equation, but she wasn't the whole. That's always been such a disingenuous part of, like, the argument against Scream 7 and the degradation of Scream 7 about, like, people saying, oh, well, it's not going to do well at the box office because it doesn't have Jenna and Melissa. What are you talking about? No one even knows who Melissa Barrera is, And Jenna Ortega, I do think that star power matters to an extent, but I do think it's a lot about the IP, the idea, and how hungry people are for the type of movie that it is. And, like, horror is hot. Most horror movies are doing really well. Like, Primate did well, and that was just a couple of weeks ago. So anyhow, so here's what I think, okay? So when it comes to the Box Office Pro range, I find that to be silly. Like, why even put out an amount at this point if you are so unsure? So tickets haven't even gone on sale for pre-sale. How can you accurately, scientifically produce a well-informed opinion or projection when we don't even have the tickets on sale yet for pre-sales? Like, so you can have some kind of gauge on how it's actually performing against other films. This is all just hypothetical. This is all just your feelings. This is all just how, like, how you're vibing with the movie, which is fine, but don't publish it as though this is anything other than your personal speculation. So, and also, so there's that, right? But then the second thing is, like, this range is completely ridiculous. It's like the most obvious generic milquetoast reporting you could possibly do, or prediction. That'd be like me saying, well, I think the Scream 7 movie is going to be anywhere between 80 minutes long and 150 minutes long. It's just like they had every possible outcome can fall into this. So they can say, oh, well, we were correct. If, Scream 7 makes, 35 million, they can say, oh, well, it was in our range. Fuck you and your range. Like, that's bullshit. 20 million to 40 million. Why don't you just say it could make anywhere from, 1 million to 90 million? Like, just to cover your basis. Like, that's ridiculous and tells us nothing. So the other range was given to us by Box Office Theory. So it's a little bit more specific. It's a little low in my estimate. I think this guy's being especially conservative. And I think this is like why we need the box office receipts from pre-sales to actually factor into the equation here. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that people like him are coming in lower. That way, when Scream 7 does do especially well, that it's going to exceed expectations and kind of very much surprise everybody. Maybe that's the case. But so he has 28 to 36. And I mean, I appreciate him being specific as opposed to Box Office Pro, which gives us a $20 million range. Give me a fucking break. Whereas this guy, it's a, 8 million range. Also, for instance, both of these stories were published before we even got the news about IMAX. So how can you also not take that into consideration? Because tickets for IMAX are much more expensive than regular tickets. Like, frustrating. These people. I can't believe people get paid for doing work like this. This is such sloppy shit. I would be very surprised if Scream 7 makes less than Scream 5 did in the opening. I guess for the year of 2022 and the fact that there was the Omicron variant and we were still in the COVID pandemic in 2022 when Scream 5 released. If Scream 5 had released under different conditions where COVID wasn't as big of a problem, maybe it would have even done better. So I think that like 30 for Scream 7 is an easy bar to cross. Like I would put money down that it would objectively make more than 30 million its opening weekend. I think that it's going to easily clear the bar that Scream 5 has for its opening weekend. So I think this 28 thing is just, I think that's very, very conservative. And that also speaks to me like, okay, how online is the person who's writing this article? Is he on Twitter, and falling into like, the propaganda there? I don't know. But okay. But so then his range maxes out at 36 million. So Scream 6 had 44.4. I think to say that it's not even possible that it can reach 44 million when the last entry did, I think that's kind of irresponsible, don't you? I don't know. That just seems weird. I think the bottom line is it's too early to take these numbers in any substantial way. These are guesses at this point. We are likely to have more accurate, more informed numbers as time goes on. But I just think that this range, 28 to 36, is a little low. Let's just say that it makes anywhere more than 34.8 million. It would be the second highest opening of the franchise. That should not be seen as a weakness just because Scream 6 did especially well. So maybe perhaps like both of these forecasts are coming in lower is because they're primarily using like the Scream 2 and 3 to help gain like a median amount to make a guess. Maybe they're trying to average like the Scream 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 openings. I don't know. Maybe that's part of why it just feels a little lower. But I just think that I would be very surprised. Like, so for instance, okay, let's just say this. Okay. So like 30 million, I think it easily passes Scream 5. 32.9, I think it's easy going to pass that. I could see, I think like on a underwhelming but still positive note, I think like I could see anywhere between 32 and 35. It seems like Scream 7 could do that without trying very hard. Getting over 35, between 35 and 40, it's going to take some effort, but I think realistically it's very feasible. Getting over 40 to 45 would be tough, but it's definitely possible. I mean, you have to remember, Stu Macher is coming back. Matthew Lillard is coming back. Neve Campbell could have a Jamie Lee Curtis moment. My wish was that Scream 7 would have a $50 million opening. I think that there is like a slim chance that happens. It's probably not likely to happen. I wanted it to be Halloween Kills. Like that's what I wanted. Like that amount of money the opening weekend. That's what I wanted it to match. It's probably not going to turn out that way, but I think it at least has a chance to maybe even break 45 million. That would get it over the 6 hump of 44.4. And that's all I really want. I want it to make more than Scream 6. If it doesn't, I mean, who cares, right? It's still going to be the best movie of the franchise in many, many years. The quality will speak for itself. The box office is just something nice to have. It's nice bragging rights. And to quote Sam herself, it would feel right if Neve Campbell's return and Kevin Williamson's first directed film is the highest grossing movie in the franchise and that it would exceed the core 4 beach volleyball of Scream 6. But hey, what do I know? So the bottom line here is I wouldn't take these numbers to heart from these people. I mean, again, 20 to 40 million range, like, girl, like, why even write the story if you're going to give it that generic of a range? Come on. And also, let's just say these people are more correct than I am. Maybe I am a delusional fan who isn't seeing things clearly. If Scream 7 were to make 28 million. I mean, that would be disappointing. I think it has to break into the 30s. Let's just say it makes 30. That matches Scream 5. What's wrong with that? That is an amazing amount of money. That's a shit ton of money. If it makes 35 million, great, amazing. Literally the second best ever in the franchise. So I think we just need to keep our expectations in check. I think that Scream 6 is going to be the monster on the hill for a lot of us. And I just think we don't like it when the Scream 5 and 6 people, the Gen Z, the toxic Melissa people, kind of try to taunt us and use a comparison. So let's practice what we preach and, not even think about Scream 6. Let's just focus on Scream 7 having a great opening. A 35 million opening would be fantastic. So many franchises would kill to have a 30 to 35 million opening weekend for its 7th entry. Making 40 million would be insane for a 7th movie too. For a horror slasher movie, come on. None of this is bad news. We should be appreciative that our movies are still making a lot of money. And I just want to end on this note, okay? Let's just say it's on the lower end of these ranges. So let's just say it makes 33 million. That is kind of the dead center of this box office theory range, okay? Guess what? If it has a $33 million opening, it will have made more money in its opening weekend than I Know What You Did Last Summer made at the domestic box office for its entire run this past summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer only made 12 million its opening weekend. How can we be upset that Scream 7 is making 3 times as much as I Know What You Did Last Summer did? Let's keep perspective. So one quick last note, I'm going to be making final box office predictions for Scream 7 as we get closer. So, probably the week before the movie comes out, I'm going to have a big segment on what we think this will do the opening weekend. And maybe we'll even have a contest. Whoever is closest will get a prize or something. I think that's a great idea. We'll do that in the Patreon. So join the Patreon, participate in the contest. All right, everybody, please enjoy the rest of the episode with the box office draft and the Buffy-Taylor Swift crossover segment. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. We are doing something that we've never done before on this podcast in this segment, so I'm excited for everyone to hear. But before then, I would like to welcome a guest that I had on back in April, May of this past year. He used to be of the Box Office Buds, and now he has his own Survivor YouTube channel. So everyone, please welcome my friend, Tony SWRCS. Hey, Tony.
Hello, hello. I'm excited to be here. Happy to be back on this wonderful, wonderful show. Happy to be talking about movies again. Scream 7. What a big year. I'm pumped.
So Tony, before we get going with the task for the day, you single-handedly made me feel better about Scream 7, or at least less, you kind of brought me out of a weird insecure place about Scream 7 after kind of living this show for 2 years. And you kind of gave me hope, oh wow, this could do what I wanted to do. So thank you for kind of putting me in the right perspective last year. And that episode that you guys did was a very popular one. It kind of really shaped the way that Scream fans and the people on the podcast talked about the money in regards to Scream 7's future.
Oh, that makes me feel great. I'm happy to leave a lasting impact wherever I go. But no, I truly believe what I said back in April about the movie. I have maybe some altering thoughts in the months since, but I do still think it's going to be a box office success, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit.
Sounds good. Well, Tony, please tell everybody where they can find you now.
Well, Ryan, they can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Tony SWRCS, but the big project I'm working on in 2026 is all about reality TV. It's on YouTube called SWRCS. If you like Survivor, if you like The Traitors, we have guests coming on. We're talking about all things reality TV, going through all the past seasons and the current season on the build to Survivor Season 50. It's going to be an absolute blast. Our good friend TJ Wortham does all the graphics for my show as well, so if people like his work, they'll be able to see it on mine. Survivor Squared on YouTube. I cannot wait.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony. All right. So I need to welcome on my other guests here. This is so fun. Please welcome one of my favorite people, if not my favorite person in the entire world, including so much so that my boyfriend is actively jealous of this person. So everyone, please welcome my friend, Josh Carr. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Tony. Hey, TJ. It's good to be back on doing this draft again and actually having it professionally done this time. So I'm excited to get back in the fantasy world. My other fantasy leagues didn't pan out. as I'd like. So hopefully this one can do it this year.
Well, thanks, Josh. And I'm excited to spend the next year going through these updates with you.
Sure you are.
All right. And last but not least, I need to welcome this is an unofficial Straight Bros episode because we have Tony here too. But this Josh and TJ are what we deem the Straight Bros here at Scream with Ryan C. Showers. And TJ, he also did the What If episodes that have been on pause. So I would love to get 3 and 4 cracking in season 6. People really loved the Scream 1 and 2 What Ifs. He does all of the graphic design for the podcast as of now until he quits because he hates me and because I beat him last year at the Box Office League. So everyone, please welcome my graphic designer and producer, TJ Jones. Hey, TJ.
Hey, Ryan. So good to be back on the pod. It feels like it's been forever. And, I just like to say, oftentimes in professional sports, NBA, NFL, the MVP of the league doesn't actually win the championship. So I'm just thinking that, I might be the best player and now is my time to shine. I won't always be number one, but this year is different and I'm going for the gold.
So there's an episode of Friends where Phoebe says to Monica, they have a bet on something and Phoebe wins. Monica hates it. And Phoebe says, now remind me, do you like to lose? I just want to start out with that question to my friends because I won the Box Office League last year. So woohoo.
Well, to also quote Phoebe, Ryan Showers often is a smelly cat. This year will prove the same as he falls back down to earth in third place and Josh and I take the top 2 spots.
TJ, have you not noticed that I usually end up getting what I want?
That was a pretty good pull. Smelly cat, just out of nowhere. Come on.
No, that was a dad joke. That was weeks. But I'm going to surrender the ropes of the podcast like I do in the What If episode to you, and you can kind of set up the episode for today.
It's a super fun and easy little game you can play with your friends to put together. There's not in a lot of fantasy leagues. There's a lot of back and forth action during the league that takes up a lot of your time. This is not the case for this league. You just draft however many movies, let's say 5 movies for each person at the beginning of the year, the 2026 calendar year. And then you just kind of watch all year long and you talk junk to each other about what movies are going to do well, what movies aren't going to do well. When they actually come out, you discuss the results and whoever's roster at the end of the year has the most worldwide box office wins the league. So it's very simple. It ends up being fun. It, gives you a little bit of slice of investment and stakes in maybe some movies otherwise you wouldn't really care about. Every other week, there's something fun coming out to discuss. So we really enjoyed it. We're on year 3 of our other main league, and now year 2 of the Ryan C. Showers Straight Bro League. So hopefully this is just the start. We can keep it going, and I'm so thrilled. Tony Squares, there's nobody better in the business with the numbers and with the information and the details. This dude's brain is a computer, so he will be steering us correctly, way better than we would be on our own. So I'm so glad to have Tony Squares here with us as well.
TJ, I have one question. So last year, how it went was we had 5 movies that we kind of took just money from. And then we had a horror movie pick that we took money from. And then there was this other special bonus, kind of how I really secured the win, which was I picked one battle after another for the Metacritic score. And obviously that has a basically perfect Metacritic score. How, I know, it was lucky, right? It wasn't even titled back then. That was a really good call on my part. But how are we supposed to, if I want to say, ooh, I want to pick Scream 7 for my Metacritic score, how do I designate that?
So that'll just happen after the draft's over. Right now, me, you, and Josh are just drafting 7 movies. You just have to keep in mind that one will be your Metacritic and one will be your horror. So obviously, if one of us is drafting the horror movies, maybe it's safe to assume that's going to be someone's horror pick. But those decisions will be made after the draft. As far as we know, just 7 movies that we're drafting the calendar year will dictate which one falls into which category after it's all said and done.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, boys. Have we described exactly how we're doing this draft this year? TJ, did you guys do a snake draft last year?
We did a snake draft and we didn't do it on the pod. So please, Tony, give us a little rundown so the folks can follow at home.
So for the folks listening, the reason I'm here is because we need a neutral party to play auctioneer, because each of these gentlemen are drafting these movies not via a snake draft, but rather via an auction draft, meaning they're going to put up a movie, say Scream 7, and they each have $100 fake Schrute bucks that they're going to bid on all 7 of their movies. And so Scream 7, Josh might go $5, TJ $6, Ryan $7, and eventually that's going to end with the highest bid, and that person will get said movie and then take away from their budget. And we'll keep going until all 7 movies are drafted. You must spend $1 on each movie, so your max bid will change as you spend money. I will be keeping track of all of that. You'll be able to follow along through me, audience members. These 3 might go off the rails a little bit. I will make fun of them for their movie selections, how much they've spent on each of these movies, but at the end of the day, each of them will have 7 movies in their team and then decide later where they fit. But TJ, I believe you are up first to put a movie up for auction because you were so bad in last year's league. Is that correct?
That is correct. It was my plan all along, actually. I purposely came in last place so that I could have the first pick this year of nomination. So without further ado, Tony, if we're ready, I'll get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. So with my first nomination, I will be nominating Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, or
Big movie.
for $10.
Big movie. Big movie.
So how this just I've never done this before. I'm not a drafter like you straights.
Yes.
So if I wanted to say 11, I can just say, "Hey, 11."
Yes, you
Okay.
say it whenever you see fit. And basically, if it were to end, Ryan says 11. I'm going to go Odyssey for 11 going once, Odyssey for 11 going twice, Odyssey sold. And as soon as I say sold, it's over. So you have until I say sold to bump in with 12, 13, 14, whatever the higher number may be. But right now, folks, we're live. The Odyssey is up for $11 to Ryan.
Yeah, I'll go 12.
I'll go 13.
17.
Gonna
20.
say 20. Okay. Getting a move on here.
22.
The 22. The Odyssey went for $40 in me and TJ's league.
I'll go 25.
25. I stole it for $40. This is my movie, my number one movie. $25 for the Odyssey. Anybody else?
30.
There we go. Now we're getting moving here. $30.
33.
Okay, 33 for the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's Return.
35.
35. Oppenheimer made $1 billion. Don't worry about it. This movie's going to be even better. $35 for the Odyssey.
It didn't make quite $1 billion, but it made close. I will go 37.
It was also the middle of COVID against Barbie. $37 for the Odyssey. $37 for the Odyssey.
I'll pull the toady squared and I'll do 40.
Yeah, this movie should be up higher than 40. $40 for the Odyssey.
41.
Okay.
41. They have $100 each, folks. They have $100 each to spend on 7 movies, but obviously they're not all going to cost the same. $41 for the Odyssey going once. $41 for the Odyssey going twice. $41 for the Odyssey sold to Thomas Jones Wortham. That is his first movie in the books. Josh, you are up.
All right, so with 40 going off for TJ, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna nominate Doomsday.
Oh, boy.
It's worth mentioning that you only get the box
December
office for
18th.
the 2026 calendar year, Ryan. So don't play dumb. It was in the rules last year. You don't get its full theatrical run into 2027. So we get Doomsday for 13 days.
Yes, Doomsday for 13 days, coming out over the holiday. I will say TJ spent 41 on the Odyssey. He has $59 total left. $54 is his current max bid. 13 days of Doomsday. Josh, what's your opening bid on that?
Opening bid. I'm gonna go ahead and do 15.
$15. Starting off hot. Take it away, kids.
20.
20.
I'll do 25.
25. 13 days for $25.
30.
30.
33.
33. $33.
35.
$35.
37.
$37.
38.
$38. We're almost there.
40.
$40. We're over $3 a day for Doomsday. $40 for Doomsday.
42.
42. Higher than the Odyssey. Will this make more than the Odyssey in 13 days?
Now we're playing, baby. Let's go. Come on.
$42 for Avengers Doomsday going once. $42 for Avengers Doomsday going twice. $42 sold to Josh. That's a number.
Josh Carr.
I'll take it.
Josh, do you have your Jason shirt on? What is this? I can't see. I can only see the top.
Sorry, let me adjust real quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, you are up to put a movie up for bid. You are the only one who doesn't have a movie yet, but this also means These two can't go higher than $54 and $53 individually for their max bid. So if you wanted to put a movie up to make it yours, you just got to bid $55 and it is yours. They cannot match you. And that's how this will go along. I'll keep everyone abreast of where they are for the budget and the max bids because you might be able to bully some people as we get further along the line. But anyway, Ryan, you are up. Put a movie up for bid.
I'm going to go with Moana. We'll go for 10.
Live action Moana for $10.
20.
$20.
25.
25.
Beef.
In our $30 in our individual draft, Moana was the fifth highest movie we paid for. $45 it went for. I believe $30 to Wortham was the last bid. Yes.
32.
32. 32. No one's going over 32 for live action Moana.
35.
35 from Thomas.
36 for Ryan.
36 for Ryan. $6 for Moana going once. $36 for
37.
Moana. 37. There it is. It came in late.
38. I see the game here. Okay.
38. I don't think he's going to stop, TJ. $38 for Moana going once. $38 for Moana going twice. $38 sold to the man who owns the show.
Do you understand the flow of things now, Ryan? My brother in purple.
Yeah, even though, listener, DM me if you think TJ is a lot nicer to Josh than to me, because I feel like he is. And I think it shows in the way that he speaks to us. But yeah.
So pretty even start, fellas. We all have one movie. We've spent in between $38 and $42 total. So we're pretty even so far. I don't think I need to give too many updates yet on individual budgets. TJ, you're back at the top. You have the Odyssey in your cachet. You each need 6 movies left. What are we going with next?
I will be nominating with my second nomination a little movie called Resident Evil.
Okay, the Weapons director coming back with Resident Evil. The tweaker from Weapons is the main character here. It should be a very interesting movie. A lot of people are interested in it. TJ, what's the opening bid?
I'll start at a good $7.
$7 for the Weapons Part 2, Resident Evil. $7 for Resident Evil. Anyone in the room?
8.
8. I was going to say that might have gone for 7 easy. $8 from Ryan.
9.
9 for Resident Evil. A little bit high if you're asking me. $9 for Resident Evil.
I'm just trying to bankrupt TJ.
Thank you. You already understand this draft better than TJ does because he was silent for the entirety of my draft and people were stealing movies like The Odyssey for $40.
You should see my paycheck from Ryan and you would know he already tries to bankrupt me on a monthly basis.
$9 for Resident Evil. It's TJ's movie going once. $9 for Resident Evil going twice. He spent $12 on it in our league. He gets it in this league for $3 cheaper. Sold to TJ.
Keep in mind, Tony, we have to have a horror movie as one of our categories.
Keep in mind you spent $9 too much on your horror movie. Up next is Josh.
All right, well, I'm gonna keep it on theme here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna nominate Scream 7.
Fucker, you stole Wicked from me last year, which is obviously a Ryan C. Showers thing, and now you're trying to steal the other Ryan C. Showers thing?
No, I'm not stealing it. All you got to do is outbid me. So
Okay.
see what you got. How much money you got left?
So for Scream 7, what is the opening bid, Josh?
I'm gonna make it. I'm good. 20.
Oh. Oh, he's putting it up there. He's playing against the home crowd here. $20 for Scream 7. Can I hear a 21? Oh, you got to say it in the mic so the folks can hear it
21.
at home. And from Ryan C. Showers, 21.
25.
21. 25.
Girl, how much money do you have left?
$25 Scream 7, just to say he owned it on the show. $25 for Scream 7.
26.
Oh my goodness, you guys are
know.
insane. $26. $26 for Scream 7. $26 would be more money Scream 1 through 6 made in the box office, but $26 for Scream 7 going once. $26 for Scream 7 going twice. $26 sold to Ryan C. Showers.
Hey, you got it. You got it.
Listen, I've already won this league, so it's like been there, done that. So if I lose, I'd rather lose with my movie.
It's a fair point.
Okay.
And I'm playing against TJ, who is notorious for losing.
Now, Again, to the folks at home, Ryan has 2 movies now. He still has $36 in his budget for the other 5, so it's not like you're out of money. You did spend $26 on Scream 7, a movie that I got in our fantasy movie league for $5. It is also a movie that I predict will be around the $200 million worldwide box office mark, so again, I think it's going to be successful. $26 is a big success, though.
Well, you know what? It's called a trauma bond, Tony.
Mhm.
I have to have it.
You double down on it. Not only is you need this movie to work out, you need it to be entertaining for your own personal well-being, but now you've doubled a bid on it, so it will help you in this league as well. So now you have double the stakes. Okay. All right. Ryan, you were also up to put the next movie up for auction.
Okay. So I'm gonna go Toy Story 5 for $5.
Spoiler alert, this was the most expensive movie in me and TJ's individual auction. So I'm going to read you off the max bids for everybody. Josh, the max you can spend on an individual movie is 53, TJ 46, Ryan 32. Toy Story for $5.
10.
$10 for Toy Story 5. No one knows why they're making it, but Forky is back. $10 for 5.
Yeah, I'll go 15.
Oh.
15 for TJ. After an 11 bid for Ryan, TJ off the top rope with 15.
I'll go 18.
$18. This is going to be a big one, folks. $18
20.
for Toy 20. There's no chance Scream 7 should be more than Toy Story 5. $20. Let's get those bids up. $20.
23.
$23 for Toy Story 5. Guaranteed
25.
billion dollars. 25 for a guaranteed billion-dollar movie. $25 Toy Story 5.
27.
There you go. $27. I like it. $27 for Toy
28.
Story 5. $28.
29.
29's a big number. Can we get higher? I haven't heard Ryan at all.
Ryan doesn't have the money for it. So Ryan took the L here with this game, just to have his movie.
$29 for Toy Story 5 going once. 30. Yes, thank you. Thank you. $30. Can I hear anything else, Josh? $30 for
I'll
Toy
go
Story
31.
31. There we go. TJ, $31 for Toy Story 5 going once. $31 for Toy Story 5 going twice. $31 for Toy Story 5 sold. That is a steal by Josh.
Don't worry, I got a plan.
Okay. Sure. So, Tony, can we have an update now of everyone's financial standing?
Absolutely, folks. Everyone has 2 movies. TJ has The Odyssey and Resident Evil. He has $50 left, a max bid of 46. Josh has Doomsday and Toy Story 5 and also the 2026 championship belt around his waist. He has $27 total and $23 is his max bid. Ryan has Moana and let me check the notes here. Scream 7 for he has $36 left, $32 max bid. So TJ has the big stack left. Josh still has money to spend. You all need 5 movies remaining and TJ is up to put one up for bid.
Yeah, let's do this. I am gonna go Super Mario Brothers for $10.
This was the second highest movie in our league. Super Mario, the first one made $1 billion. This one has a galaxy. Bowser's coming back. And what was the opening bid, TJ?
$10.
$10. $10 for Super Mario. $10 for Super Mario.
15.
15. Ryan, you had something to say?
No.
You're going to let this go for $15?
16.
$16. $16. Josh's max bid is 2-3.
18.
18.
19.
Thank you, Ryan. 19. TJ. TJ's going to steal this, so I would suggest bidding him up as high as possible. $19 for
What's my max you said?
2-3. 23 is your max bid.
All right. 23.
24.
Thank you. Thank you. TJ is into 24. Josh is out. It's between TJ and Ryan. Ryan, your max bid is 32. $24 for Super Mario Galaxy going once.
We'll go 26.
Yes, $26. $26 for Super Mario Galaxy going once. $26 for Super Mario
27.
Galaxy. 27. I'm looking at Ryan once again because Josh is out. $27 for Super Mario
28.
Galaxy. 28. Thank you very much. TJ, back to you. $28 for Super Mario Galaxy going once. $28 for Super Mario Galaxy going twice. $28. Thank you, TJ. I was about to say sold. 29. Looking at Ryan. $29. $29 for Super Mario Galaxy going once. He's not going to stop, Ryan. $29 for Super Mario Galaxy going twice.
You can win.
Sold. That's a steal, TJ.
See, I find this unfair because I have never done this before, and I think this is discrimination. This is like heterosexual.
I'd never
This
done a
is
snake draft either, and you won. And I
this
know you have
is
a lot of experience with snakes, but still, it's something you won.
Well, that is a big spend for TJ. Mario is a great movie, joins his Odyssey team along with Resident Evil for some reason. And TJ, your max bid now is $18. Ryan, you have the high with $32 being your max bid. Josh and Ryan need 5 movies. TJ needs 4. Josh, you are up.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw out Mandalorian.
Mandalorian and Grogu, a Star Wars movie coming out in 2026, the only Star Wars movie coming out in 2026. Does anyone care? The last time The Mandalorian was on our screens might have been 2022, but it does have Grogu. What's the opening bid, Josh?
We'll start it with 10.
$10. $10. We're already $8 away from TJ's max. $10 from Mando going once.
I'll do 12.
12. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything higher than 12 here for Mando? $12.
I'll go
13.
I'll go 15.
15 from TJ from Mando. $15 for a Star Wars movie going once. $15 for a Star Wars movie going twice.
16.
Thank you. $16. Can't let TJ get this one too. $16 for Mando and Grogu. $16 for Mando going once. $16 for Mando going twice. Sold to Josh, who steals another one. All right, Josh, your max bid is now $8. And just so you know, folks, when we run out of max bids, it pretty much becomes a snake draft where you all can only bid $1. So it just goes in order. You're going to get that movie if no one can outbid you. But Ryan, you still have the high stack with 32 as your max bid. Josh, you're down to single digits with $8 as your max bid. Ryan, you are up to put a movie up for draft with Moana and Scream 7 on your roster.
Okay, we need to step our pussy up here. So I'm gonna go with Dune Part 3.
Dune Part 3, the end of Paul Atreides' story. What is your opening bid?
We'll go with 10.
$10. Josh is already out of the running. $10 to TJ. $10 to TJ. $10 for Dune 3 going once. $10 to Dune 3
11.
going $11. Back to you, Ryan. $11 for Dune 3 going once.
12.
12.
15.
Back 15. Ryan, back to you. $15 is the bid.
18.
16. That is TJ's max bid. Do you want it for 19?
Yes.
All right, that's it. No need to do it. Nobody can outbid you. Dune 3 for 19 is and Ryan is now down to oh no. Yeah, $14 is your max bid, Ryan. $18 TJ. Josh has $8. You each have 3 movies. Again, folks, they need 4 movies more. Their max bids are TJ can only go as high as 18, Ryan can only go as high as 14, Josh at $8. So this will move a lot faster. TJ, you are up.
All right, here. I am going to go with Spider-Man.
The entry into Doomsday. This is coming out in the heart of it all. It should make a lot of money. People love what's his face as Spider-Man. TJ, what's the opening bid?
$1.
$1.
I'll go 8.
Yep, that's the max bid for Josh. Anybody want to knock him off the perch?
Yeah, I'll do 9.
And Josh is out. Back to Ryan. $9, Ryan.
I'll do 10.
$11. Back 11. Ryan, $11 for Spider-Man.
My max bid's 14, right?
Correct.
I'll go 12.
13.
Okay, back to you, Ryan. TJ bid
14.
15.
TJ
Fucking-
takes it at 15. Ryan, you have the max bid with $14. Josh still at 8. TJ down to 4. Josh, you're up to put a movie.
All right, let's see. What about Minions?
Here you go, folks. I was waiting for this. This is my tag team partner to the Odyssey in my league. This is also a movie that no one watches, but yet they each make $1 billion. I cannot name you a single Despicable Me or Minions moment, yet there's been 8 of these movies, and they each make $1 billion. What's the opening bid, Josh?
You know what it is.
$8? $8. So that means TJ's already out. The question is, does Ryan want this movie for $9? Ryan?
Yep.
He's taking it for 9?
I'll take it for 9.
Oh, the owner of Minions is now Ryan for $9. Ryan, I think that's a great move, my guy. I think that might be your best pick yet. I'm not even joking. That's probably the biggest moneymaker on your team is Minions 3. Let's go. Ryan's the next one to put up a movie, but he has $6 as a max bid. Josh 8, TJ 4. So again, we're really getting to the heights of it here. Ryan, you need 3 movies left. What's the movie you're putting up for bid?
Okay. I'm going to go $1 for Devil Wears Prada 2, please.
Devil Wears Prada 2, the return of all of these characters, a movie that didn't make a lot of money the first time. But again, we have a long time running for this one. $1 for Prada 2. Can I get $2? Can I get $2?
Yeah, I'll go $2.
$2 for Devil Wears Prada 2 from TJ. $2 for Prada 2 going once. $2 for Prada 2 going twice. $2 for Prada 2 stolen by Thomas Jones Wortham.
Jeez Louise, I was just trying to keep Ryan up.
You know what other movie I love, TJ? I love The Devil Wears Prada. So now this
Then
is
why did
I thought you were going to go higher than 2.
because
That's your fault.
I have a plan. So,
That's your fault. Yeah, you can't get mad at TJ for taking it for $2. That's on you.
well,
That's on you, buddy. That's on.
I was expecting both of you just to be straight and let me have Devil Wears Prada 2.
Just because TJ is straight doesn't mean he doesn't know how money works. And Devil Wears Prada is going to make some money. Let's go with a reset now that we're at the top of the draft. TJ has 5 movies on his team: The Odyssey, Resident Evil, Super Mario Galaxy, Spider-Man, Devil Wears Prada 2. TJ also has $3 as his max bid for 2 remaining movies. Josh, you have only 3 movies: Doomsday, Toy Story, and Mando and Grogu. You need 4 movies remaining. You have $8 as a max bid to throw your weight around here. Ryan, you have 4 movies on your team: Moana live action, Scream 7, Dune 3, and Minions 3. A lot of sequels for you. And you need 3 movies left. Your max bid is $6. TJ, you are up to put a movie.
Man, kind of wish I could get skipped right now.
It's okay. People love listening to silence.
I'll go $1 for Baby. I will go $1 for God, I promised myself I wouldn't do it. I promised myself I wouldn't do it, but I want to win, $1 for Supergirl.
Supergirl. He already has Spider-Man. Let's add Supergirl to the roster. Supergirl going for $1 going once. Supergirl for $1 going twice. Supergirl for $1 stolen 2 movies in a row by TJ. These two are scared.
I don't think Supergirl's going to make that much money.
I don't either.
It's going to make more than $1.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, it's going to make more than $1. Supergirl is actually my movie on my team. We got it for 13 in our league. Josh, you are up. TJ needs 1 more movie total. TJ, $3. You can spend it. You can not spend it, but need 1 movie and you have $3 to spend on it. Josh, you are up.
I'm gonna do Disclosure Day for $3.
Well, TJ's out. Ryan, it's up to you. Do you want Disclosure Day for 4?
No.
No, so that means Josh, you're getting Disclosure Day for $3.
Nice, Josh.
Ryan and Josh both have $6 as their max bid. They both need 3 movies left. Whoever says that $6 first is going to get the movie. Ryan, you are up to put a movie up there.
Okay. I'm going to do The Hunger Games for 6.
That's it. Oh, he's just going to take it. He's just going to take it. He's not even going to let people bid on it. Fantastic move by Ryan. That's how you play. Hunger Games is Ryan's for 6. Ryan, you can only spend $1 on any other movie. So that means, Josh, we're going to go to you every single time now because you're the only person that can really steal these movies. TJ, you're up. You need 1 movie left and you have $3 to spend.
I am going to nominate Godzilla -0.
For $3?
I have to, right? Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to, but yeah, for $3.
Sure. $3.
Josh, do you want Godzilla -0 for 4?
I do.
I like it. So that means Josh gets Godzilla for 4. Josh, you still have 1 more dollar to spend than Ryan. I lied to you. I completely lied to you. Hold on. Let me do the math in my head here. Yeah. Yeah, because you need 2 movies. Yeah. Okay. So Josh and TJ both have $3 as their max bid. So again, Josh, we're going to you. If you want this next movie, you can bid $3 on it and it's yours. If not, you put it up for auction and TJ has the chance to outbid you at $3. Both of your max bids is 3, Ryan's is 1. So Josh, you're up to put a movie up there.
I'll go ahead and take Michael for $3.
There we go. The Michael Jackson biopic, the reason I lost last year. All right, boys, now it is a snake draft. So let's reset because we're just going to name movies. Ryan, you need 2 movies left. TJ and Josh both need 1 movie left. This is to end us out. No need to auction anymore. You're all out of money. We'll go through the teams afterwards. But Ryan, you need a movie. What's the one you're getting?
Okay. I'm going to go with Scary Movie 6.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
TJ, you are up. What is the last movie to add to your roster? TJ, your full roster right now is The Odyssey, Resident Evil, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, the Spider-Man movie, Devil Wears Prada 2, Supergirl, and finally,
Josh really fucking took the wind out of my sails with that Godzilla pick.
Josh, were you going for the Godzilla pick because of the Metacritic score?
Well, one of the things is I didn't know how it did. I was trying to look at it, but I was worried about the dead air. But I wanted to see what it did overseas last year. But yeah, I had my eye on it, and it was one of the ones I thought could go into the Metacritic as well. I got screwed on the Metacritic last year. I don't know if TJ told you that story. So
No. No.
Yeah, please
Uh,
tell him right now. Please tell him right now.
okay, so we got time. So TJ mentioned to us that Metacritic would be one of the last categories, and so I totally forgot when we were texting it. We were texting at a snake draft, and I was driving, and I picked Karate Kid Legends as Metacritic.
And I picked one battle after another.
So it was yeah, that was a total
I'm
screw
pretty
up.
I'm pretty sure you could double Karate Kid Legends Metacritic score and it still wouldn't add up to one battle after another. But hey, at least you tried.
No, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I drafted, speaking of mistakes last year, I drafted Michael as my third movie, my third highest paid movie. And my first two did gangbusters. Lilo and Stitch did great. How to Train Your Dragon did great. And then Michael was going to be my number three. And then Michael, of course, got pushed to 2026 and left me with
Oh,
a big old zero. So I love Michael. I think it's going to make a lot of money. So I think that was a great pick by you to add to your team. TJ, are we there for your final pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm going with Robert Eggers' Werewolf.
Are we even going to have a Metacritic score by the end of 2026 for that? Doesn't it come out the last weekend of the year?
Comes out Christmas. It'll have one.
Ooh, I think
Okay.
that if there is no Metacritic score by the time by December 31st, that TJ's should just be eliminated from that category.
That's a zero. Yeah, that sounds like a zero to me. Josh, your final movie, again, your full team right now: Doomsday, Toy Story 5, Mando and Grogu, Disclosure Day, which is the Spielberg movie, Godzilla minus zero, and Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic. Your last movie, sir.
I mean, I'm looking at Disclosure Day and Godzilla, and I don't know if those count as horror, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Ready or Not 2.
Mm, that trailer looks awesome, not gonna lie. Ryan, to close us out, your team is Moana, Scream 7, Dune 3, Minions 3, Hunger Games 17, and Scary Movie 6. Again, every single movie of yours is a sequel or a remake in some capacity. Will you do it again?
No, I'm going with two-time Oscar winner Inarritu, Tom Cruise
Yes.
in Digger. Q.
Round of applause for Ryan C. Showers for Digger is also on my team. That's my favorite pick of the year. Tom Cruise, Inarritu in an Oscar movie. Come on, that's making so much money. Metacritic scores. They're releasing stuff out like it's supposed to be weapons of this year. Fantastic pick, Ryan. Fantastic. TJ's not happy though.
No, I don't want any parts of that. I think it's gonna be polarizing.
That's what you said about one battle after another. You're like, Sinners is definitely going to win the Metacritic score, and it didn't.
Well, I definitely didn't sound like that, but yes, I felt pretty good after Sinners did incredibly well with the critics, and you squeaked it out. So kudos to you.
There was no squeak. That was a thump.
I like Sinners way better than Battle One After Another, so I feel quite good about it.
I don't know. It was kind of a squeak because if TJ would have got it, then your nods would have been.
I was saying the Metacritic competition was not a squeak. It was a thump. I basically had 100 Metacritic score, and TJ had an 83. So
As goes life, Ryan. As goes life.
So do you guys want to debut what the teams are? Like who's your Metacritic and who's your horror? Or are you saving that for another day?
I'm ready for it.
I've-
I don't know if these jokers are.
All right, well, let's go in order. Let's go TJ first. You want to list your five and then your Metacritic and then your horror?
Yeah, absolutely. The 2026 Fantasy Movie League champion, Thomas Jones Wortham. We got Christopher Nolan returning with The Odyssey. Tickets are already on sale. You can get them right now. The follow-up to Weapons, we have Resident Evil. We have the smash sensation Mario. We have the movie leading into Doomsday that actually will have a several-month runway. We have Spider-Man: A Brand New World with Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. We have the most unlike straight bro pick of all time, Devil Wears Prada 2. We have Supergirl and Werewolf. And for my horror, obviously Resident Evil. And for my Metacritic, I will be going with Werewolf.
Don't agree with those last two decisions, but hey, that's TJ's pick. Josh, are you ready to unveil your starting five, your horror, and your Metacritic?
Toy Story 5. I'm kind of torn here, but I think I'm going to go Michael
As your Metacritic or as your starter?
for the Metacritic starter. No. Yeah. So Godzilla would be a starter. Metacritic would be Michael.
I think that is a fatal flaw. Ryan, you are up.
So, Josh, you should take a look at what Bohemian Rhapsody's Metacritic score is after we're done. It's like 49.
Well, I
But
guess
it makes a
this
lot
will
of
be
money.
the Metacritic will do it again for me.
Might want to flip flop those two real fast before we press end recording. Ryan, you're up.
I'm gonna go obviously Scream 7 for my horror pick, and I feel very duped. I feel like I got trapped here. I was lulled into this thinking with Scream 7, and they kind of tricked me into it. Now I'm gonna lose the draft, but you know what? At least I'm going down with Sidney Prescott. And for my Metacritic, I'm gonna go with Digger.
And then your starting five would be otherwise.
Everybody out there, this is literally a Scream podcast. Multiple tickets, please. Okay, so we're gonna go Moana, Dune Part 3, Minions 3, Hunger Games, whatever. I didn't even see the other one, and Scary Movie 6. Scary Movie 6 is kind of on brand for me as well because that's it's a Scream related. So there you go. And Dune Part 3 and Minions Part 3. I'm a Scream 3 person. There you go. So I'm okay with this lineup. Whatever. I don't care.
I'd like to say really quickly, because me and Ryan are such good friends to our buddy Josh, and we care about Josh so much. Josh, I think we are both okay if you want to flip flop the Metacritic and the starter position, if you'd like, for Michael and Godzilla.
So now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, are we kind of thinking Michael's going to make a lot of money, but it's not going to be as the heavy knot? All right, then I'll switch it around. I'll take what y'all are saying. I was thinking it would get a decent Metacritic, but when y'all were talking about it, I looked and I was like, damn, it's probably gonna make a lot of money, and cutting that out if it's not gonna.
We want to make sure no one walks away with this feeling like they got duped.
2 years in a row.
Too late.
That'd be terrible.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for helping us out here.
Absolutely. This was a blast. And again, folks, if you like reality TV, head to Survivor Squared on YouTube and help me build that channel up, hoping to get as big as this Scream podcast, you know?
Well, I'm very fortunate that TJ, he makes the graphics for my show, but he also does the thumbnails for your YouTube show. So I think that's very cool. And I'm happy to have you on the show again. Thanks.
This was a blast,
So-
man. This was an absolute blast.
Tony, it was good to meet you, and you did an excellent job, man. Kept it rolling, kept it fresh and funny. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. This was a lot of fun.
Hello, listener, and welcome to the next segment of Scream with Ryan C. Showers. I'm your host, Ryan C. Showers, and unfortunately, we are setting Scream aside, or fortunately, if you need a break. I know there's been a lot recently, and I'm throwing a lot at you, so thank you. But we're going to set Scream aside for a second, and we're going to be Buffy with Ryan C. Showers and Taylor Swift with Ryan C. Showers. So for my co-host, I've invited, of course, a natural Swiftie. I'm just teasing. He's a Buffy guy. He tolerates the Swiftiness. It's okay. Everyone, please welcome my friend. Oh, my gosh. What was that just came out of my mouth? My friend. Gosh. My friend, Sam B. Levy. God, I'm talking to a New Yorker, and I sound like a hick. Okay, go.
Oh my God. Hi, Ryan.
So what Sam and I are going to be doing in this segment is he had this idea of like kind of crossing the Taylor Swift albums, there are 12 of them, with the 12 seasons of the Buffyverse, the Whedonverse, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Angel the series. So there's 12 seasons of Buffy and Angel, 12 albums, and we were kind of thinking about like what Buffy season would correspond with which Taylor album. So I actually really enjoyed this exercise. Like I've done similar stuff with Ashley for Scream and Taylor a lot, and getting to apply it to Buffy I thought was a fun little break from Scream, because there's so much Scream going on right now. And like Buffy is important to me. I want to keep it alive in the show. I don't want it to just be forgotten. I'm really looking forward to, after we get through Scream 7, kind of like building towards this new series with Sarah Michelle Gellar on Hulu for however long we get it, or for however good or bad it is. We'll see. And Sarah Michelle Gellar herself is a huge fucking Swiftie.
That's so funny. I didn't realize that she was a huge Swiftie, but I did find out that Allison Hannigan was recently.
Well, so Sam, how we're going to do this is we're going to go through all 12 of the Taylor albums, like in chronological order. And I'm going to throw it to you first. What Buffy or Angel season do you pick to correspond with that album? And then if I disagree, I'll throw contrasting point of view in there. So let's start with debut. So this one is so easy. So what is debut?
It is. So FYI, I'm sure that your reasonings are going to be a lot more thought out and you're going to have a lot more things to back it up than mine are, just FYI. But obviously, I think we can both agree that debut is Buffy season 1. It just, it's her first album. It's the first season of the show. And it was really just before Taylor and Buffy really like became the icons, is getting their feet wet. Like it was really just their test run.
No, I agree. That's exactly what I would have said. Like the thing about season 1 of Buffy is there's a lot of great stuff in there. There's a lot of great metaphors, and the foundation is great. It's lower budget, of course, and it shows. And I think all of that can be true of debut Taylor Swift, because there are some Swifties who swear by it. Yet it's so green, and I feel like that's like Buffy season 1's. It's so. What do you think about this comparison? This is like probably one of the best ones we're gonna have of these 12. We match twins. So okay. Fearless. What do you pick for Fearless?
Okay, so I'm going to be basic, and I'm going to say that it's Buffy season 2. And the reason that I feel this way is because the Fearless album is very much about high school and high school romantic life. And I think that Buffy season 2 is really, even though the first 3 seasons took place during the high school years, the second season is really when I think it's most fully like into the high school ethos. And particularly in regards to romantic love and losing of innocence and learning that life isn't always fair, and how to learn those lessons into absorbing those lessons into becoming a more self-sufficient adult, having to break your heart along the way. That's my reasoning for that.
So I like that. I mean, it makes sense logically.
Thank you.
I'm going with Angel season 1 just because, like, the way I see Fearless is like in some ways, sometimes I forget that debut exists. And like it's because like in the same way that Buffy is half of a season, and for its first season, Angel is a full season. It's fully developed because like they had the first 4 years of Buffy to figure out the blueprint and what worked, what didn't work. So Angel season 2 kind of hits the ground running, and it's a fully fledged series that's on par with the other Buffy stuff. So that's how I see Fearless, because she won Album of the Year for this. So I just see Fearless as being like this well-oiled machine after debut. Like debut is the warm-up, and she was able to really hit the ground running with Fearless. And that's how I see Buffy season 1 versus Angel season 1, is they had all the kinks worked out. And I don't know, there's just something very solid about Angel season 1. I think the same can be true about Fearless. So what do you pick for Speak Now?
I picked Angel season 2. It's because certain songs on the album are like the first instances of Taylor's, especially her singles, where she's like willing to embrace that sometimes there isn't always a happily ever after, and that sometimes things go south. Sometimes you have to go back to December, and sometimes the story of us plays a lot like a tragedy now. And while that wouldn't make sense for Angel and Buffy's relationship, but I think maybe it's really the first realization where Angel really realizes what his relationship with Darla actually is and was the whole time. So
that's actually a good comparison between Angel and Darla and Dear John, right? I like it. We like it. So for me, I picked Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 5. And this is more of a stylistic thing. Like in the way that like Buffy season 4 deviated and like went to college, Buffy season 5 to me has always felt like a coming home in a respect. I know that sounds very basic to say, but like there's something, I don't want to say little girlish about Buffy season 5, but because of Dawn, there's an element of like a youthfulness that's brought out as someone is aging, who is Buffy. And that's how I kind of see Speak Now. I see Speak Now, Taylor, as being, it's still very like youthful, but there is a lot of depth and hard truths that she has to learn. And I'm connecting that also with Buffy season 5 because like I'm thinking about like the realizations that Buffy goes through along the way and the growing up. And I think that this is like the first time that Taylor really feels grown up. She's experiencing pain just as Buffy is experiencing the pain of, having to take care of a sister, her mother passing, and learning death as her gift. I think those are like some hard truths that are kind of mirrored in Speak Now. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I respect that very much.
Okay, next up is Red.
So I put Buffy season 4. And the reason that I chose that was because season 4 of Buffy represents new beginnings. And I think that Red kind of symbolizes that as well. It's kind of like, starting off with we are never ever getting back together. In Buffy and Angel's case, it's far less spiteful, at least initially. It does end up being that way near the season's end, though. And eventually, though they grow to a better place in their relationship, they're both kind of teenagers about their breakup because that really was the first person either one of them ever truly loved. So there's that. And then there's I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In, which could apply to Parker. And then Begin Again is how the album ends, and it's, a more hopeful. No one really wants to think of Riley that way. I'm sure some people do. The truth is that, Riley was a good cornerstone in Buffy's life at that point, and it was a chance for her to really evolve past the Angel relationship and realize, you know what, as much as I loved him, it will never work out. And Buffy season 4 symbolized new beginnings and the first journey on to self-discovery and who you become as an adult.
Well, so here's another really good thing that supports your reasoning here. So Red is kind of known as Taylor's like experimental album, where she was doing her typical country, but she was also trying to do pop, rock, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And that is also kind of Buffy season 4 in a lot of ways. Like it does the school thing because she continues on into college, but at the same time, it's a very experimental season. We have Hush, we have Restless, we have like the 2-part Faith episode. There's a lot of spice in season 4 that isn't just, and of course the initiative, right? So I mean, like there's so much different about Buffy. So, but it's still kind of the same. So I think that's actually a really good comparison to Red, which blended so many different genres. So really good, astute choice there. This was the first one that I matched up. Actually, the second, and it wasn't because Red is my favorite album and this is one of my favorite seasons. I picked Buffy season 2 for Red just because the way I see Red is like the first big, devastating breakup you have as you're a young adult. For me, of course, like that's for Buffy, I should say. That is encapsulated with Buffy and Angel and the devastation of him losing his soul after they've had sex. Because of, I'm zeroing in on the Jake Gyllenhaal of it all, of the All Too Well, devastating heartbreak and reflection on that. I think season 2 Buffy is kind of where it's at. And there's still some youthful, fun things about Buffy season 2, which are obviously, represented in Red in various ways. But yeah. So that's what I'm going with.
This was a fun one to talk about too, and also like something we're both emotionally invested in, because even though in our Buffyverse season rankings, I don't objectively have season 2 as high as you do, but we both really love Buffy season 2. Like emotionally, that's number 1 for me.
Red is so emotional. I think it's her most emotional album, just from the heart, and that's how I see Red. So
yeah, I hear you.
Okay, 1989.
Okay, so with 1989, I chose Buffy season 3. And the reason I did that is because 1989 and Buffy season 3 are both the moments where they each permeated the zeitgeist. Ever season 2 post the shocking plot twists and turns that like captivated millions of teenagers everywhere, Buffy entered season 3 knowing that it was the hottest thing on television. And same thing with 1989. Where after Red won all the critics' hearts in a way that her previous 3 albums did not. Not that they weren't like well liked, but that it was more like seen like as like a burgeoning burgeoning talent, like slowly blossoming. Red really showed off how Taylor had grown as an artist, and by the time she got to 1989, it was such a shrewdly engineered pop album, ranks with some of the all-time great pop albums. That album and Buffy season 3 were the moments where both of those things were just, they knew that they were like the center of the universe at that time. And I understand why. So that's why I have those together.
I almost went with Buffy season 3 for 1989. I think it's a great choice. So, for all the reasons you said, yeah, I agree. Otherwise, but so what I chose here, what I put down is Sam was looking at the culture, and like that's the right way to look at it. I kind of looked at it in terms of like 1989. Taylor wanted to do something different. She was transitioning fully into pop, kind of leaving country completely behind, and it was a big change for her. And for me, I picked Buffy season 4. I know that seems weird, but season 4 was leaving high school and going to college, dealing with more mature things, dealing with the initiative. I think the initiative is kind of what I am seeing here. It's just like season 4 feels different than the first 3. So, and it's just a new environment. Like she moves to New York, different things going on. So that's why I picked it. And also like the idea of like Buffy going to college, like, college I think is kind of like symbolizes like, being single and having fun. And that's kind of what 1989 is. And there is an element of season 4 being a little lighter in some ways, heavy in some ways, but also like we're too busy dancing to get knocked off our feet. Maybe we're the new romantics. So
I was just thinking about New Romantics and how I don't know if it ever made the official track listing. It was like a bonus track or something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah. And then it recently ranked at number 3 on Rolling Stone's list of greatest Max Martin songs of all time. And I'm like, yeah, that would be the one for Taylor Swift's collab with him. That would be the one that would do it, because that's her big anthem number. That's really, yeah. So I get that.
Right. Next up is Reputation. So what'd you pick for Reputation?
You're probably not going to be surprised at this because I have told you this before, but it's Buffy season 6. And
Right.
if you remember when we were doing the Taylor Swift album ranking, I noted that both Reputation and Buffy season 6 literally open the same way, or at least the video for her first single off that album, Look What You Made Me Do, opens the same way that Buffy season 6 does, which is that it's heroines rising from the dead and being vilified and misunderstood for much of the season. And engaging in some dark behavior, and in Taylor's case, grappling with the way that her image had somehow become tainted, or at least this idea of her being this monstrous diva behind the scene.
Well, and Buffy season 6 is darker. Reputation has a darker aesthetic, darker vibe to it. So that makes sense. And I like it. I mean, that would have been my second choice for Buffy season 6 after what I eventually chose, which we'll get to. But no, I think it's great. And, Reputation has people who deeply love it, people who think it's the greatest thing ever. It's sometimes those people go over the top. But then there are also people who rank this in the lower bottom part of the rankings for the Swiftie albums. So, I think that also represents season 6 in a lot of ways. So I picked Angel season 4. And this is like, this is hard.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's the darkest season of Angel. Aesthetically, I get the Reputation vibes. Reputation also has a huge part of it that is a love story, and there is an emphasis on Cordelia and Angel and their love in certain ways in Angel season 4, and that it doesn't really get to be fulfilled at the end. But basically, the reason I chose it, again, it kind of goes back to what I just said about season 6, is like Angel season 4 is very controversial for a lot of reasons. Yet, there are people who love the serialized nature of it. There are people who love certain aspects of it. And I think the same is true of Reputation. It's just...
Yeah, Angel season 4 is unfortunately one of my least favorite of the entire series. And I think it is, I think that's a generalized consensus among the fandom. And it's one that I am in full agreement with. And a lot of it, some of it I will admit is emotional. Like if I were able to step back and accept accept what they did to Cordelia. I mean, at a certain point I was like, oh, okay, this is not really Cordelia. Fine. Unfortunately, the knowledge of what went on behind the scenes makes that season really, really unpleasant to watch for me.
I haven't watched it since that came out. But there is also, just one last note, Angel becomes Angelus for, a good 6 episodes in this season.
Which does somewhat redeem the season, for a good portion of it. I would say also, but especially really, it's only once Faith shows up, the season briefly comes back to life.
Angelus and the darker side of Angel being present here is like kind of like the darker side of Taylor in some way. So
sure.
That's why I picked it too.
I like that.
All right. What'd you pick for Lover?
Okay, I think we're in agreement on this. I picked Angel season 3 because I literally had nowhere else to put it. I had no idea what else to do with that season.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I actually think that Lover is one of, in my opinion, in my estimation, her better albums.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot more than most people in the fandom seem to. Like, in terms of like her artistry and what her better stuff is and what isn't. I'm kind of on an outlier on this, but yeah, I actually like that album more than I would say most of her others, or at least it's in the upper half for me.
Well, we have the same choice here. And for me, this
is it
makes...
because of Angel and Cordelia's burgeoning romance? Like, is that it? I don't know. Like, maybe?
That makes sense. And for a couple of things. One, for the budding Angel and Cordelia romance, which kind of does, I don't want to say dominate the first half of this season, but there's a strong emphasis on it. And the thing I would say, like, stylistically, Angel season 3 and kind of the impact of season 3, I don't really feel like, I don't hear a lot of people talking about Angel season 3 as one of their favorites. It kind of fades into the background for a lot of people. And I think it's a great outing for Cordelia, especially the first half. But it gives me Lover vibes. I don't know. Because Lover isn't noted as one of the best eras. It has some of the best songs in her discography and some of the most popular. But a lot of people see this as her kind of at her most boring or fading in a way. And I feel like that can also kind of be said for Angel season 3. A lot of people don't like rush to champion this season compared to the others. And that's how I feel about Lover, I think.
I hear you. The first half of that album is stacked. There are many really good songs in the first half of that album. Songs that I generally run to more than like on a lot of our other stuff. So, but as far as that goes, yeah, Angel season 3 is actually, that's one of my like no seasons. So because there are 12 seasons of the Buffyverse, and I basically have them divided up into like 4 categories, like the cream of the crop, the top tier, the oh my god, you guys, these shows are really, really good, the okay, not at their best, but they still are worthwhile and have some great moments, and then there are the these seasons are misfires. And I think that Angel season 3 unfortunately is in the misfire category. But
yeah.
That being said, it's still part of the Buffyverse, and there are still a few really great moments in it.
Well, and also, just take this a step further, there is strong emphasis on Cordelia, almost as like the co-lead with him in the first half, I would say. And then there is complications with Darla. There, we see kind of Cordelia almost being a pseudo mom to Connor. Then we get Gru. He comes back and there's a love triangle, and it ends with Cordelia up, Angel going down, and kind of them realizing before that they should be together, and they don't get to be. And that to me just feels very Lover. I could see like a music video of Angel and Cordelia in season 3 over the song Lover. All right, Folklore. What you got?
Okay, so I picked Angel season 1.
Okay.
And the reason I did that was because Folklore was the album where Taylor Swift really, really broke from her own mold of seemingly telling autobiographical stories all the time, and at least was marketed as finally venturing into like fictional territory. Okay, that may or may not be the case, but that being said, since that's how it was, marketed, and it may have been true, I kind of view that as in a way of Angel's debut season being a spin-off and being one half of the series iconic couple going off in his own direction, and how Angel's one, which I think is a very fine season of television, was very much a stylistic departure from Buffy's world. Very fantastical, very, very emotionally dark and very intense, but also still optimistic. And it had a really good tonal balance of dealing with the harsh facts of humanity while also believing in the goodness of its essential characters. Whereas Angel was very much in this film noir style of being very dark, very intense, very gritty, almost unrepentantly so, but in a stylish, seductive way where it didn't glamorize its hero, and I'll get to more on that later. But accepted that the notion that the world was a very dark and scary place, and also that this is explicitly spelled out in Angel season 2, but that the bad guys are not demons but human nature. Again, that's not really in Angel season 1 so much, but it's hinted at and then spelled out later. So that's why I picked that, because I felt like Folklore was really going off into a different territory, and I felt like that's what Angel 1 represents it as well. What about you?
So I'm picking up what you're putting down. I think I know where you're going, but this was pretty easy for me, actually. I picked Angel season 5, and I picked it because, and again, I love Lover too. I usually have Lover higher in my ranking of Taylor than most Swifties do. So I'm not like trying to diss it. There is a huge shift from Lover to Folklore, and that shift that Taylor did in her music, in her writing, in her approach was kind of revolutionary. And I think it's like people look to that as why she is who she is today in terms of the cultural zeitgeist and her power in the industry. And I think that Angel season 5, after season 4, didn't really hit the way they wanted it to hit, and the Cordelia storyline didn't work. And I think people were ready for a revamp and a refresh. It's the same kind of thing going from, Angel Investigations to Wolfram and Hart, and and shedding some skin to get something new. I think that's what Taylor did with Folklore in terms of changing the style so dramatically, changing the subjects and her approach so dramatically. And a lot of people, like, I don't love Angel season 5. I find it kind of boring at times. I know that makes me a bad Angel fan, but some can look at Folklore and say the same thing, like, oh, this isn't as fun as Fearless as 1989. So I feel spiritually they are the same. What are your thoughts?
That's really interesting. I really liked a lot of what you said about that. I will say personally, the first half of Angel 5 is pretty terrible, with the exception of 2 episodes. The one with Wesley's dad and the one with Angel and Spike battling it out over who gets to be the savior of humanity. Those 2 episodes I thought were great. The rest of it I thought was almost a total misfire. And it was, with Buffy being off the air, it was almost enough to make me want to give up on it. But then the second half is amazing.
You're welcome.
Really? Yeah, you're welcome. Well, first of all, that episode single-handedly rescued Cordelia's character after the previous season and a half. But also, show really got into, and then of course there's the little detour for the puppet episode. It's smile time. But after that, at this point, the show had been becoming more and more fantastical and away from its film noir roots. But the show really started to explore the darker side of heroism. And I'll get to more on that later when I tell you where that ranks for me, because that hasn't come up yet. But I think that that's a great observation about the connection between those two.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one. Okay, next up is I can say this, our Ryan and Sam's favorite album, Evermore. So Sam, what'd you pick?
I think I put Buffy season 5 here. I think it may be more emotional than anything else, but considering that I think it's Taylor's best work and I also think it's the series' best work, it's so willing to grapple with like romantic tragedy and life tragedy. Well, in Buffy's case, it's really life tragedy because I remember watching that and being like, oh, you thought season 2 was going to break your heart? Wait until you see what we're going to do now. And it's like, shh. With Evermore, it's where Taylor really starts to acknowledge her own responsibility in her failed relationships in a way that isn't like cutesy or poppy or like, still where she's trying to play the hero. It's really more Champagne Problems and Coney Island, which rips my heart out.
Me too.
Oh God, 'tis the damn season. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I think that album represents her writing peak to date.
So for Evermore, I picked Buffy season 3, and I picked this for a specific reason, and it has nothing to do with actually the substance of either, but to do with its quality and its consistency. And a lot of people pick Buffy season 3 as their favorite Buffy season, and for all the reasons you mentioned earlier in terms of like its, pop culture peak moment. But the thing about season 3 that always astounds me is I don't really feel that there is a bad episode in the mix. I mean, there are weaker episodes for sure, but most of them are pretty great. They are pretty like A minus, A most of the time. I think it's a very consistent season in the way that I think Evermore is a consistent album. I don't think there's a bad song on Evermore. I love every single one, and they're all kind of on topic, on brand, and that's kind of Buffy season 3 as well because of the Mayor/Faith storyline. Everything just feels very cohesive, and that's how I see Evermore. That's how I see Buffy season 3. So that's why I picked it.
I hear you. I think that it's great. Buffy season 3 is also one of my cream of the crop seasons. It's not in first place for me. It's actually in third. The only reason for that is because there are very few bad episodes in there, but a couple of them are near the beginning. I think the season gets off to a bit of a shaky start. After it would be hard to maintain the momentum that concluded season 2, which was a series high. So I think it had a little bit trouble getting started, but I think it finds its footing about 6 or 7 episodes in, and then after that it's like firing on all cylinders for the rest of the season. Like it's literally just like banger after banger after banger. So yeah, season 3 is fab.
So what did you pick for Midnights?
I picked Angel season 5, and the reason I went with that is because, well, literally, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. And I don't think Angel ever really truly realized. No, I take it back. I think at a certain point, maybe right after the episode where Illyria, he has the confrontation of Illyria, and she accepts that she's going to stick around with them because she has nothing to do with it. I think the episode's called Underneath. I think there's this scene like right at the beginning of the episode where he's sitting there just looking at the conference room table, and I think that he doesn't say anything, but I think he realizes briefly to himself, I'm interpreting it this way, that his decision to move their base to Wolfram and Hart because he believed he could fight them from the inside out was actually what caused all this tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the closest he ever got to the realization that because he never earned his soul back the way Spike did, he still felt the need to redeem himself for all the terrible things that he had done when he hadn't had a soul. And I think that caused him to have kind of a self-destructive streak. It actually reminds me back of when at the end of season 2 of Buffy, when he could no longer deal with being in the world anymore, but he didn't have the courage to take himself out of it, so he tried to like open a Cathla to end the world. What he does at the end of season 5 of Angel, I think is kind of similar. Like, I think he thinks he's trying to save the world by destroy the, whatever it was, the Blackthorn, I think, by all the senior partners. But actually what he did was unleash hell on earth.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing, like the way that season/series ends with him and the other survivors going into an unknown fate, just continuing to fight the demons, is a really, really powerful statement on the nature of heroism, which is that the work is never done and that sometimes you will lose people you love. But I think there's a more tragic element to that than the show ever really acknowledges out loud, but you can read into it. You can read into it how needing to be a hero at all times can actually be destructive if you don't fully realize where you're taking it. So I would love to hear what you have to say.
So mine is Angel season 2. There's a couple of things. Like one is just the general vibe. It just like I get a very midnightsy, dark, cool, edgy kind of vibe from season 2. And like you said, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. I mean, Angel kind of goes through what's called in the fandom, in the subculture of the fandom, the beige Angel, where he is questioning himself, and it's because of Darla and Drusilla and that little arc with them. And then it comes to be where he does accept that he is the problem. He compromises a lot of himself to get his friends back. So I don't know. I just visually, stylistically, I just feel like Angel season 2 fits the cool aesthetic of Midnights. Whenever I think of cool Angel seasons, I think of season 2. And when I think of cool Taylor albums, I think of Midnights. So, and Cordelia gets to be bejeweled because she gets to be the queen of Pylea, and she can still make the whole place shimmer. Which Buffy Angel season are you picking for the torture post department?
Angel 4, because fuck it.
Fuck it, I was in love. Fuck it if I can't have us.
Yeah, watching that season feels as long as it does for me to listen to TTPD. Sorry, I know you love it. It's not personal.
I do love it. And the thing is, like, so for me, this was an easy choice. I picked Buffy season 6 just because it is long, it is miserable, and there's a lot of sadness and sorrow. To me, it just feels like, and how excruciating of detail Taylor describes this fortnight of hers and the pain around this time in her life and every slight frustration she has that she scribbled down on a piece of paper for that album. I feel that same kind of fire and sorrow in Buffy season 6 in the various storylines about life. It's just Buffy season 6 in my mind is relentless in how sorrowful it is. And I find that same sorrow in the torture post department.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. So, okay. How about The Life of a Showgirl?
Well, there's only one season left that neither one of us is named, and it's the same one. So once again, we're in agreement. So that's 3 out of 12 for both of us, and that would be Buffy season 7. And this one was pretty easy for me because despite Buffy season 7 exploring darker themes on a very subtle level about what it means to be an adult and how to use your own power responsibly, most of it is really on a more surfacey level. Most of it is about the main characters that we've grown and loved over the past 6 years, really learning to find themselves and be themselves in as much of a gentle, positive way as possible. And I feel like The Life of a Showgirl, it's really seems to, from the point of view of a Taylor who has actually found a love that is right for her. And despite my serious dislike of some of the songs on that album, I think that that's fairly evident. And by the way, I want her to be happy. I want everybody to be happy. So I'm glad she's found
a redwood tree.
Please don't get me started on that. It's so cringe. It's so cringe. But that being said, you've literally browbeaten the fate of Ophelia into my head so much that I actually like the song now. So
I'm sorry. I know. It's like my go-to Instagram song.
Now I hum and tap my feet every single time. So it is really catchy. It's really catchy, and it is really catchy and sweet and cute. Because I like it when people are honest about being petty, I do like the fact that she's still like indulging in her beefs, which is really immature and childish. But I respect the fact that she will still just do that. Because let's be honest, that's been a big part of like why she's been so successful, is she's literally made a big career about like venting about the beefs that she's had. To take away from the amazing accomplishments she's had, like as being the first person to completely own her entire catalog fully, which is awesome and does make her like, feminist trailblazer. So fabulous. Good for her. But yeah, I do like it when she doesn't hide her petty side. So yeah, I really like Actually Romantic, and the chorus of Opalite is cute. But that being said, for all the reasons comparing the two of them, I think that Buffy 7 and The Life of a Showgirl are like most well matched.
Well, and here's the thing about Buffy 7 and Life of a Showgirl. This was a pretty easy one for me. So I think the first like couple I did were like Torture Post Department with season 6 and Life of a Showgirl here. Like, and both of those, going from season 6 and Torture Post Department, both the show and the Taylor, they actively, I think, I mean, this has been talked about in the Buffy lore, that there was an active choice to go lighter, to be more mainstream, to try to appeal to more people. And that's kind of what Buffy season 7 did after being so dark, so heavy, so emotional, so cutting, so disturbing. It tried to be that high school girl again. It tried to be fun again. So I think there's that obvious comparison, but also just like, The Life of a Showgirl could be almost the life of a Slayer in some ways. It's about Buffy in the way that like Taylor sings to Sabrina, and they're singing about, Kitty and the arc with that song. It's kind of like the first Slayers. Buffy has all these younger girls who are about to inherit this power and that she has experienced, that Faith has experienced, and it's not what they understand. Like, take even the song Canceled, which is one of the other controversial songs on.
Did you girl boss too close to the sun?
But you know what? Empty Places, season 7, episode 19.
Oh, that's a rough one.
So just saying.
That's one of the most widely hated episodes. Yeah.
And even though Taylor is getting the redwood tree, and in The Life of a Showgirl, Buffy and Spike, they did all of the redwood treeing in season 6. Yet they're but like at the same time, like I know the Buffy and Spike relationship is very loaded and sensitive for some people, but I love the Buffy and Spike relationship in season 7. For me, I've always found it as two people who kind of lean on each other as they continue on trying to become better in their own ways. And for Buffy, it's about her becoming the leader to win, the apocalypse, whatever. With Spike, it's about him trying to, beat the first, figure out his soul, and she's there for him, he's there for her, and it's a very adult, mature kind of relationship. It's not high school, and I think that like in Travis and Taylor, like they are well matched in that way where they're on equal enough footing as famous people where they both understand each other in a different way, just like Buffy and Spike do, even without the redwood tree. So I don't know. It ain't hard to see.
I will say that Spike earning his soul back for Buffy made me no longer a Angel fan.
Oh,
not
good.
that I've stopped appreciating the relationship, but after that I was no longer a Angel shipper. I was like, what? And I think that it really showcased the differences between like high school, like first love infatuation versus like a real more mature complex love, which should not be read as an excuse of all the abuse that took place during season 6. But I think it should be understood that where the two of them arrive at in season 7. Listen, don't read it too literally. It's a fantasy show with vampires. Like, I mean, as much nuance and really brilliant writing there is about human relationships, the situations that they're in were really fantastical. So like, don't take it literally. Use this as a bedrock of how like all human relationships should evolve. But that being said, the place where they arrived to at season 7 and their journey to get there was, I think, the backbone of the season. And I think it was really, really beautiful to watch.
I want to end just like one of my favorite underrated Buffy moments is in Showtime. It's when Spike is tied up and he doesn't know if it's the very last scene of Showtime, and Buffy comes to free him. Like she finds him, he is out of his mind, delirious, and Spike thinks it's the first. He doesn't know if it's the real Buffy. And as Buffy's cutting him down, it's a quiet scene. Like I think he's maybe rambling, but I don't think Sarah says anything. And as she's cutting him down, he puts his hand on her and feels that she's real. And they look at each other, both teary-eyed, and like it's so well communicated. It's beautifully lit, and they just walk away together. That to me is what Buffy is. Like that is the beauty in Buffy, is like this shared understanding of two people who are kind of giants in their own way. Maybe they're not like totally meant to be together, but they respect each other and they respect the experiences that they've been through and that history that kind of bonds them, whether they like it or not. So I don't know.
Yep.
Sam, this was a wonderful recording. I hope our Buffy fans really enjoyed it. I love talking about Buffy, and I hope to get to do it a lot over the next year as we build up to the new series.
Thank you so much for having me on, Ryan. It was a delight as always. And yes, despite my extreme fear because Buffy ended so perfectly for me, I don't want to like ruin that by finding out what might happen now and worrying that it might do something to one of these fictional characters I've become so invested in. Yes, I'm here for it. I'm hyped for it. I want it to be successful. I want it to work, just like I want Scream 7 to work. And yeah, I don't have to worry about Taylor because she's already the biggest pop star in the world, so she's fine. But kudos on all the success, babe, and congrats on the engagement. So happy for you.
It's like good luck to Scream 7 and good luck to Buffy, but not good luck to Taylor Swift. You already have all the luck, bitch.
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine.
She's good. Awesome. Sam, thank you. And we will see you next time.
All copyrighted material used or referenced in this show belong to their rightful owners and made possible by the Fair Use Act.
And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back. Get another beer, you want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back!
Dear God, Ryan,